presentation from him that is going to be virtual, which is the one that is projected there. Relationships between teacher practices, ability, grouping, equity, and learners' mathematical identities. So he will not be presenting it in person. We will get it virtually. I'm just waiting for ICT now to finish up with the technicalities. And as soon as they give me a go-ahead, I'll introduce him, and then the presentation will be flagged virtually. Thank you. In the interest of time, because it's already after 10 now, whilst they're busy preparing the virtual presentation, I could be giving you the background about Dr. Arifa Ganji. Where's Arifa Ganji? Colleagues, in the interest of time, sorry. I've just got thumbs up that the presentation is now ready to be presented virtually. So I am going to start with the session. I've already introduced myself, your Vice President Zingiswa Jojo. The presenter is Dr. Arifa Gandhi, who is a South African mathematics education lecturer and researcher at the University of the Witwatersrand. She holds a PhD in mathematics education from the same institution. Her research primarily focuses on learners' mathematical identities in secondary schools with a broader contextual factors, particular interest in how these identities are shaped by both classroom and broader contextual factors. Recently, her work has expanded to explore the influence of mechanisms such as equity, socio-economic status, and experiences related to race and gender of learners, on learners' mathematical identities. Driven by a passion for social justice, Arifa is committed to empowering all learners and students to see mathematics as a transformation tool for personal and societal empowerment. I've already excused him. I will now go over to the ICT team to give us the presentation. Over to you, ICT. Thank you. ICT, you can start it.
Yes, I'd like to. everybody. Welcome to my presentation. My name is Arifa Gardi, and it breaks my heart to have to say that today I am unable to present my presentation online due to a family emergency situation. But yes, I'd like to thank the Congress organizers so much for still giving me this opportunity to be able to present my presentation, even though it has to be done so virtually. Um, and I'm so grateful to be able to share this with you. So, once again, thank you all so much for coming. It is just heartbreaking that I cannot be there to see you, to engage with you, to be with you at this moment. But yeah, let me begin my presentation. And I hope that you will reach out to me if you have any questions, if you have any concerns, if you'd like to carry on the conversation with me. I would look so, I would look, I would, you know, I look forward to actually having to hear your ideas on the work that I'm doing and um, how I can perhaps enrich it or to develop my thinking. I would really appreciate that opportunity and I'd be so grateful to hear from all of you. So, the title of my presentation that I've prepared is called Relationships Between Teacher Practices, Ability Grouping, Equity, and Learners' Mathematical Identities. This concept of learners' mathematical identities is very important. Why? Because this concept of identity is related to learning. So, learners' mathematical identities basically involve how learners see themselves as mathematics learners. It involves understanding their participation in the mathematics classroom, their motivations for learning mathematics. So, that's how it is so closely related to their learning of mathematics. Okay, what research is showing is that learners' mathematical identities may be related to ability grouping practices. Now, these ability grouping practices, which usually involve segregating learners um, into different classrooms, is guided by this belief that not everybody can do mathematics. And so we need to segregate learners into these different classrooms so that teachers can be able to address these so called abilities through their teaching. Now, the thing about ability grouping is that it basically involves demarcating this concept of ableness, like who is able or who is not able to learn mathematics based on assessment scores. It's a very controversial practice. Some people believe that ability grouping is equitable and inclusive and it gives teachers the opportunity to meet the needs of certain groups of learners better. But actually, there is so much of evidence and research that shows that ability grouping is actually exclusionary. It is actually impeding efforts seeking to promote social justice and equity. I mean, if you look at the research as well, you'll see that countries like Japan and Finland, who are performing very, very well on international assessments, actually reject this practice of ability grouping. Whereas other countries that are not doing so well, like perhaps the UK or the USA, they are not doing as well as those that are, and they use the ability grouping practices, but they're not doing as well as those countries that are rejecting ability grouping practices. So, what research is actually showing is that when we have these mixed ability groups, they are shown to actually achieve a lot more equitable outcomes. This concept of identity is really quite powerful because it can provide insights into exploring the experiences of learners who are underrepresented in research. And this goes back to this concept of equity. Now, if you remember on the Monday plenary, we were discussing equity, and professor was saying that equity is characterized by fairness, and fairness doesn't mean sameness. So what Gutierrez actually says equity is, she defined it as being the inability to predict mathematical achievement and participant grouping contribute to grade 10 learners' mathematical identities. And the second question is, how do ability grouping practices relate to the mathematical identities of learners who perform better than others in their mathematics classroom communities? Theoretical framework which I have been working on for a number of years. And I'm going to start by discussing it from left to right, starting at the micro level, which involves relationships between learners and others. So starting from the left, we can see it says social identity offered. Now, what the social identity offered involves the roles that are made available to learners by others. So in the classroom, teachers and peers offer learners certain kinds of opportunities to become certain kinds of mathematical learners in the classroom community. They can either provide them with opportunities to learn mathematics fully and to develop the skills of learning mathematics deeply, or they can limit the opportunities to learn mathematics well. So while these learners are offered certain kinds of social identities by their peers and their teachers, they have agency. That means that they have a choice. They have the choice to develop their identities in different ways and to become a certain kind of member in the classroom community. Now, obviously, agency is not just a personal thing. It's also involved, it's also very influenced by what is offered to the learners in terms of what kind of social identities are offered to the learners, and it's also informed by learners' personal identities, which involves what they care about in the world, their understanding of self, their interests, their emotions, their motivations, as well as the social identity constructed, which involves how they would like to see themselves as members of the classroom community. Now, what's important to note here is that in this particular diagram and this kind of work that I've been doing now, I've been trying to relate this micro level, which is the relationships between learners and others within a classroom community, to what we call the macro level, which are the much broader ideologies that can exist globally and not just in South Africa. So, for example, if you look at ideologies of ability and ability grouping, who is considered able to do mathematics, who is considered so-called not able, those are more global. They're not just something that is specific to our country. So I've been trying to work out this relationship between the two. And I'm going to be showing you in this presentation that there's actually a reciprocal relationship between this macro level, which is the ideologies that exist on a more global level, and the micro level, which is the relationships that between learners and others within the classroom community. Okay, so going a little bit deeper now into the theoretical framework, and looking at the different kinds of social identities that teachers can offer learners. Okay, so teachers can either offer learners a social identity of affiliation, whereby they provide learners with opportunities to become full members of the classroom community, or they can offer them a social identity of marginalization. That is where the teachers constrain learner access to becoming a full member of the community. Now remember, I said that even though teachers offer social identities and offer learners different opportunities to become members of the community, learners have agency. And that agency, of course, is informed by what is offered to them by their teachers, as well as their own personal and social identities. So while teachers may offer learners a social identity of affiliation, learners may choose to construct their identity as affiliation, meaning they're taking up the opportunity. They want to become and they engage with the classroom culture as a full participant. They want to be a full member, perhaps because they're interested in mathematics and they see themselves as wanting to attain full membership in the classroom community. Then there may be those that construct their identity as compliance, meaning that even though you are offering them the opportunity to become a full member of the classroom community, they choose not to do so. Um, they may choose to engage peripherally without much meaning. Perhaps they just want to, pass mathematics. They're not really interested in succeeding or becoming a full member of the classroom community. Then you may get those that resist. They construct their identity as resistance. So even though you offering them these opportunities to become a full member of the classroom community, they may not want to become a full member of the community and may participate in limited ways or choose an alternate non-compliant way of participating in the community, in the classroom community. Like, for example, I may get those learners that privilege maybe being a member of their peer community where they need to be rebellious. So even though you may want them and give them the opportunity to learn mathematics and become a full member, they may choose not to do so, perhaps because they want to belong in another community. Right then, while some teachers may actually decide, well, they're not going to offer learners affiliation. There may be sometimes where some teachers may be offering certain learners social identities of marginalization, by constraining their access to become full members of the community. Those learners may then choose. They may choose to construct their identity as marginalization. They may feel that, the teacher's marginalizing me, the teacher's treating me this way. I don't want to become a full member of the classroom community. They may choose to alienate themselves from the classroom community, thereby constructing their their mathematical identity as marginalization. You may also get some learners that choose to construct their identity as compliance. So even though the teacher is marginalizing them, they may still want to work and pass mathematics. They don't want to be a full member of the classroom community, but they also don't want to marginalize themselves. They maybe just want to do the mathematics just to pass, etc. So they may just participate peripherally to attain some sort of peripheral membership. So those are the ones that construct their mathematical identities in compliance. Then you may get those that resist the social identity of marginalization offered and construct their mathematical identities as resistance. These learners will try and participate even though their teachers are marginalizing them. Perhaps because they like mathematics, perhaps because they're interested in the subject. So despite being marginalized, these will construct their mathematical identities in resistance and try to participate as fully as possible. So this particular study that I'm discussing in the plenary is a qualitative study. It involved the participants of 2 public secondary schools in Johannesburg. I invited all grade 10 teachers to participate within this study in these 2 public secondary schools. And in each school, 2 mathematics teachers agreed to participate. One teacher taught what they called a high-performing classroom and a mixed ability classroom, and the second teacher taught one mixed ability classroom, right? So there were 2 mathematics teachers in each school. One taught both a so-called high-performing classroom and a mixed ability classroom, and the other teacher taught one mixed ability classroom. In each school, there were approximately 12 learner participants. So there were 4 that participated in each mathematics teacher's classroom. For this study, I'm going to be focusing only on one grade 10 teacher, and I call him Mr. Banza. Of course, these are all pseudonyms. And Mr. Banza taught one high-performing classroom, which they classified as high performing. The class had 78% average in the June exam, and one mixed ability classroom. Carefully at these percentages and look at the difference between the percentage that this so-called high performing classroom and the mixed ability classroom, the differences between the two. Okay, so in terms of the learners' identities, I'm going to be discussing one high-performing learner. There were only 8 girls, so 8 of this total were girls. Now let's look at the mixed ability classroom. There were 28 learners. There were 12 black learners, 1 colored learner, and 15 Indian learners. And in this classroom, 11 of the total were girls. So just have a look here, right? Which classroom there were more black learners? Which classroom there were more girls? And I'm hoping that you can already see some differences operating at this level. The data collection, I collected data in the form of videotape lessons and field notes. There were multiple audio tape semi-structured interviews with teachers and participating teachers and learners. And there was a total of 200 minutes of lessons which were analyzed for each classroom. Look at the findings. What did I find in terms of the pedagogy and relationship with learners? So what was the similarities between these two classrooms? In the high-performing and the mixed ability classroom, both lessons, Mr. Banza would begin the lessons with classroom tasks, and he allowed the learner now and just have a look at how he's calling, how he's differentiating between the classrooms. He's calling the one classroom a strong class. Okay, so just hold on to that, and we'll come back to that in a minute. So he says, mostly in these strong classes, I will let them struggle. First, they have to push the boundaries before I intervene. I will let them struggle. Okay, so you can see he's discussing a form of productive struggle for mostly the strong classes. Okay, then he says, and then when I say, okay, now I have to step in, then I step in. It's more about learner-centered. They have to do stuff themselves. I only assist in the learning process. Okay, so you can already see from here, there's some sort of, there's, some things that are similar. He's seeing them both as being learner-centered in the sense that they both are, he wants them to discover more of the ideas and the concepts, but there's kind of a differentiation here where he's saying that is calling the one class a strong class, and he's saying that he wants them to have more of a productive struggle, and which is very different, which will come in a second, to the other class. Okay, in terms of his interactions with the learners, he was willing to assist all of the learners in both of the classrooms, and he also offered extra free lessons for all learners. Let's look at why. He says, well, you see me sometimes calling particularly learners because I know that those are learners that I've identified since the beginning of the year. I know that these learners need my help the most than these other kids here. Right, so he's saying that he's willing to help those that are struggling, and he's going out of his way to also help them, because he's saying here they need more time. That is why we try to allocate 1 hour every Wednesday. So he was giving actually all the learners these opportunities that they could come to him for extra free lessons on Wednesdays after school. Let's look at the differences between these two classrooms. So from what I saw during my while I was in the classrooms videotaping the lessons, and also from the analysis, was that he often gave learners in the high performing classroom, that were called the so-called high performing classroom, more challenging tasks, and they also completed a lot more work in this particular classroom. And let's look at what he says in his interview. He says that That would be the key difference, my involvement. So he's talking about the key difference in terms of the difference between the two classrooms. In the other class, which is the mixed ability classroom, I'm more involved in the process of learning. So it's like you working together with them so that they don't miss any step. But in the other classroom, the high performing, here you are behind the steps. They are working by themselves. You are just guiding where you see you have to intervene. Sometimes you don't even need to explain other things because you notice that they already know it. You need to move. Or you need to provide something more challenging than what you gave them. Some of the questions that I work with, these ones, I cannot do it with the other class. It will take me a double or even 2 days to just do that worksheet. So you can see here that what these two learners in these two groups were learning was different things. Um, you can see that the high performing, this learners group, this high performing, were actually given a lot more, they covered a lot more content, and they were also given a lot more autonomy to be able to work through the problems themselves, whereas he was a lot more he uses the word involved with the mixed ability classroom, and they didn't obviously complete or cover the same content as those in the so-called high performing classroom. Okay, what else I noted was that actually there was no homework allocated to the high performing learners, which was different from those categorized as mixed ability. And he also had different expectations of them. And I'm sure you can see that by now, in terms of the kind of language he used, where he called the other classroom a strong group. Okay, so let's see how he speaks about them now. He says the lower stream. Okay, so let's pause on that for a moment. The lower stream. Remember, this was considered a mixed ability classroom, but because he's comparing them, he's already categorizing this mixed ability classroom as lower stream. He says it is like they don't like working, which is not the case with the other class, which is the high performing classroom. You might not give homework, but they bring the work done. They bring you the work done. Then, when talking about the high performing group, he'd say they also know. Those that are here also know that we are better than them, those kids. So you can see there's a form of othering here. There's they think they know, actually. They don't think they know. We're better than them. So they have to like work harder. Whereas for the mixed ability group, he said they know that we are weak. That's why we are not in the other class. So you can see there's different labels attached to the different learners in the different groups. They actually labeled as a group. And that's also showing you that Mr. Banza had different expectations of learners within these different groups. So now let's look at the kind of social identities he offered these two learners. Okay, I'm going to start with Demisha. She was offered an identity of affiliation. Now let's look at how I've got to that conclusion. When talking about her, he said, when you're explaining something, they get it. They start working. They're not waiting for you to come and guide again, right? So you can see he wasn't only talking about her in this particular quote, he was talking about her and a peer, saying that they were able to understand quickly. They could work. They didn't need him to assist him, but he was willing to assist her, and he was also seen assisting her. In the classroom, he'd actually, when he was walking around, he'd go behind them, he'd stand, he'd look at what they're doing, and he'd be very willing to assist them, and he would actually tell them like, this is correct, or maybe no, let's think about this and have a look at what they're doing. Okay, and in terms of her experience of the social identity offered by Mr. Banza, she felt that she really enjoyed the opportunities he gave them to work on the classroom tasks, and she felt that it was really good for helping her prepare for the tests. However, she experienced him as only being sometimes helpful. She felt that he picked on people to respond, which she wasn't comfortable about. And she felt that, sometimes he thought he was just too fast. She also felt that he actually was making assumptions about them. and making assumptions about what they understood in the classroom. Um, and she also felt that he focused more on two learners who performed better than others. And what I noticed when I was observing the classrooms was that even though she may have felt that he focused a lot on these two learners, it was because these two learners would often lift up their hands and engage with him and want to interact with him. Whereas she wasn't really willing to do that. She wasn't lifting up her hand, she wasn't calling him or asking him for assistance. Whereas these two particular learners were often lifting up their hand, calling him, asking him for assistance. And she felt that she says, I feel it's actually kind of unfair. It's like he wants them to do better. So she sort of had mixed feelings about the social identity offered to her. Kajal, she also constructed her identity in affiliation. When describing her, Mr. Banza said that she works hard. She really works hard, but she's not getting to the level. Her outcome is not what she needs to get from the hard work, and he didn't know why. That despite working so hard, she wasn't really, getting the outcome she could get. And he was also willing to assist her, and he was seen assisting her as well. In terms of her experiences of the social identity offered, she enjoyed his lessons a lot because of the emphasis on practice. And she experienced him as being helpful, as being inclusive as well. She said that he is always there to help us if we need help. And he told her that she had the potential to move to the high performing group. However, she had a lot of mixed feelings about his suggestion or his encouragement to move, by saying that she had the potential to move to the high performing group. She said, well, look, I feel like it is motivating. But at the same time, I don't know if it would be too fast or overwhelming for me. Because in this class, do feel very confident, as I'm one of the learners who's getting a lot of the answers right and understanding it. So I feel like in the faster class, a lot of kids will understand it faster than me. And when they do, I'll feel like almost like dumb. Let's digest this for a second. If you look at what she's saying, it could be a motivating thing. But, she had a doubts about it. And the doubts about it was that that class may be too fast and overwhelming. And being in that class may result in having her to change her identity from feeling successful to feeling dumb. And let's look at the mathematical identities they constructed. In terms of their personal identity, Damisha enjoyed mathematics. So it was the subject that brought her joy. She said it made sense to her and was an important subject. She felt that it came naturally. Let's hold on to this word naturally. I'll be coming back to it. She says, I understand it pretty easily what's going on. She says, I've never struggled with anything specifically in mathematics. In terms of her social identity and how she positioned herself in the classroom, she said she felt comfortable in the classroom. She had peers who supported her learning, and that's what she enjoyed about her particular classroom because the others in the classroom also understood the work well. And she felt that she and the other members of the classroom did naturally better than than other learners in the other classrooms, like those in the mixed ability classroom. And this was linked to Mr. Banza comparing them, and she said that Mr. Banza compares the learners, and that's how she knows about the learners in the other groups and how they know about them in this particular classroom. But she also said she felt stressed. She felt stressed being in this classroom. And the reason she felt stressed was she didn't like these high expectations that were placed of her because of her being in this particular group of learners. In terms of agency, she didn't really initiate any interactions with Mr. Banza. She mainly worked with her peer. But she did take additional initiatives to work. So in the classroom, you could see her. She said she used to make extra notes, and she used to discuss her work during break time with her peers. I actually saw her doing that, discussing her work during break time. Okay, she didn't really say if her parents assist her, assisted her, but she did say that they were both accountants. So she constructed her mathematical identity in compliance. The reason being is that she liked mathematics, she enjoyed the subject, but she wasn't comfortable to participate with Mr. Banza. However, she did do her work and wanted to maintain that form of membership, but she wasn't willing to go the extra mile and become participate with Mr. Banza in the classroom. Whereas Kajal, for her, mathematics also was a favorite subject. She enjoyed maths since primary school. She found mathematics as being relevant to her life. She spoke about situations whereby she had to use mathematics and budget, etc. And she found mathematics as being very intriguing. And the reason she said she found the subject intriguing was because she was able to understand it, and she noticed that while she understood it, there were others that did not. And that's why she found it intriguing. In terms of a social identity that she constructed, she was comfortable and confident in a classroom. And the reason she felt that way was that she was one of those learners, she said, that was getting the correct answers in this particular classroom. So she said, I feel nice. It's not like you tense, because it's like you can ask for help, and it's like a very comfortable environment to me. In terms of agency, she was often seen engaging with Mr. Banza and her peer. She took on additional initiatives, like she said she used YouTube to assist her. She attended the free extra classes that Mr. Banza offered, but her parents didn't assist her. She said they didn't assist her. Her mother was a hairdresser and her father was a truck driver. She constructed her mathematical identity as affiliation. So now let's look at how this particular study has enabled me to answer the research questions. So in terms of the first research question, which is how do teachers' practices in the context of ability grouping contribute to grade 10 learners' mathematical identities, we can see that Mr. Banza offered all learners an identity of affiliation. That means he was willing to support all and offered everyone in both classes opportunities to learn mathematics. However, what we do see here is that what this concept of affiliation meant was different things for learners in the different groups, and so it has implications for equity. In Damisha's high performing classroom, learners covered more content, they completed more challenging tasks, whereas in Kajal's mixed ability classrooms, lessons were progressed at a much slower pace, and the tasks were more simpler. So you can clearly see that what it meant, what being successful meant in both classrooms was something different altogether. So even though Mr. Banza taught both of these classrooms, they actually experienced different pedagogies and opportunities to learn mathematics depending on their placement in the different classrooms. So these differences, of course, presented learners with inequitable opportunities to learn mathematics and become successful mathematics doers and thinkers. Now, these ability grouping practices not only reflect but also reproduce inequalities, as you can see that there were clear differences in how these learners were being taught and what they were being taught. Now, going back to what have been discussed earlier on in the presentation, we can see that there were differences in the learners' marks. The mixed ability group had a 41% average, whereas the high performing group had a 78% average in the June exam. We can look at also how the diversity in these classrooms differed, whereas the mixed ability group were more racially diverse. There were 12 black learners and 11 girls in the classroom of 28, whereas the high performing group had more Indian and male learners, 5 black learners and 8 girls in a class of 24. We can also see differences in class status. Kajal, her mum was a hairdresser, her father was a truck driver. She obviously came from a working class background. Whereas Damisha, both her parents were accountants. So she came from a middle class background. So these inequities are actually really critical concerns in South African context, because race, gender, and social class status continue to correlate with performance in mathematics, and we've seen this clearly in the different reports, in the TIM study and in the DBE matric reports. So the second research question, how do ability grouping practices relate to the mathematical identities of learners who perform better than others in their classroom communities? You can see that there were differences in what these two learners experienced. In terms of Damisha, she experienced high expectations, a fast-paced curriculum, and a lot of pressure and stress because of her placement in a high performing classroom. She experienced her teacher as being inequitable in terms of social relationships, where she felt that he was paying more attention to two other learners in the classroom. And so she constructed a mathematical identity as compliance. She participated with the tasks, she collaborated with a peer, but she avoided interacting with Mr. Banza in the classroom. But despite this, Damisha was able to succeed. And this is not the case for many learners. What I've seen in my past research and also in other research on mathematical identity is that learners closely relate their enjoyment of mathematics with their teachers' practices. Okay, so you see a lot of learners enjoying mathematics because, well, if you ask them why, they'll say because my teacher's nice, my teacher teaches well, they care about me. And those that dislike mathematics, maybe my teacher doesn't treat me nicely, it's favorites. Maybe I don't like the way he teaches, etc., etc. But in this particular case, you can see that even though Damisha didn't have positive experiences with her teacher, she was still able to be succeed because of her personal identity, because it was mathematics itself that was that made sense to her and that was enjoyable. So it was because of the subject that she was able to continue with mathematics and was interested in it. But you can also see clearly when you read her story how this ideologies of ability were embedded in what she was saying. I mean, if you look at what she was saying, she's saying that mathematics came naturally to her and that learners in her classroom naturally outperformed others. So you can see that she was actually attributing her success to ability, seeing herself as being different and more naturally capable than others in the mixed ability group. So she's clearly under emphasizing the importance of effort and overemphasizing this notion of ability. Experienced mathematics as being enjoyable. She experienced equitable social relationships in the classroom, and her tasks were less challenging than those in the high performing group. But she constructed a mathematical identity as affiliation. She was very comfortable being a full member of the classroom community. She participated with Mr. Barnes and her peer, but it was also her success in relation to the others in the classroom that supported her identity. Remember, she said she was intrigued that she could understand more than others, and the fact that she was also feeling successful because she was the one who was getting the correct answers in the classroom community. You can also see how ability ideologies were embedded within her story, where she felt that moving to this high performing group could actually shift her identity from being successful in her classroom, her current classroom, to now being dumb. Because she was fearing that she wouldn't be able to keep up with the learners in this group. So, from this finding, we can actually see that mathematical identities are not just informed by teacher practices. Of course, they are informed, but there are other things also. Like in the case of Kajal, you can see that it was also shaped by how her success compared to that of her peers. And that's what informed how she saw herself within her classroom community. In terms of the implications, ideally, ability group should be avoided. I feel very passionate about this, that ability grouping really I don't see, and research itself shows that ability grouping actually is more harmful than beneficial. However, there may be cases now where we cannot actually prevent it from happening or stop it. Um, in its entirety. And in this cases, if this is not possible, I think as teachers we need to be very mindful about how we think and talk about learners as these information. Now remember, when I was giving the presentation in the early slides, I was asking you to take note of how the learners were being labeled um, by Mr. Banza. And we can see that even though this concept of mixed ability grouping is framed as being more equitable, deficit labels, like how he's calling them lower streams or weak, can still operate. And this sort of limits learners' access to learning mathematics deeply. And you can see that very clearly within this particular study. Emphasize effort over ability. This is so important as teachers. We have to emphasize effort over ability. All learners can do mathematics. There's no such thing as innate ability. And this will help counteract counteract the detrimental effects of ability grouping ideologies, where learners may start internalizing beliefs about this so-called natural ability or limitations. And you can see this in both the way Tamisha and Kajal spoke about ability. Stand by this, that every learner should be given opportunities to learn mathematics deeply and be challenged, and give them the opportunity to actually experience the beauty of the subject and not diminish that by giving them some sort of watered down version of mathematics that is not even consistent with the nature of the subject. Giving them the opportunity to learn mathematics deeply and to be challenged can support their mathematical identity, can support their growth, can even support their love for the subject. And that's what we want. We want learners to love the subject, and be motivated by the beauty of the subject itself. And you can see that in Damisha's case, that even though she didn't experience the teacher positively, but because of the love for the subject itself, that enabled her to continue to pursue it and be successful. Okay, the next implication is that having high expectations of all learners is important. And I'm sure you can see now how expectations, the different expectations of the learners in both groups differed, and how that related to the kind of opportunities these learners were offered to learn mathematics. Okay, but the issue here is that having too high expectations can also be pressurizing, and you can see that in Demisha, what actually happened was that she actually experienced Mr. Banza as not being understanding. And she didn't like it. She didn't like the fact that she had all this pressure being placed on her. Also avoids making statements that compare groups of learners. And you can see in Demisha's experience that she was aware and she was saying that Mr. Banza compared them. But this comparison wasn't fruitful at all, because what it was doing was it was causing this feeling of stress, but it was also leading her to believe in, the fact that she was naturally capable, naturally different, naturally better than those other learners in the mixed ability classroom. So you are essentially, creating some sort of segregation further, through making these kind of statements. Reducing comparisons can help all learners feel valued and capable, and that's important. We need to show that every learner, we believe in them. We have so much of power as teachers, and we have so much of power in our hands to shape learners' learning trajectories, to help them learn and develop the love for the subjects. And if we don't open our hearts and give them these opportunities and show them that we believe in them, and they're valuable, and their opinions are valuable, and they're worthy of being heard and being seen, then I feel that we are really doing a disservice to learners. It is important that we don't compare learners. It's important that we make them all feel heard, seen, and valued. And it's important also that by reducing these comparisons, we reduce these hierarchies that can be created based on classroom placement. Thank you all for listening to me. It has been such a wonderful opportunity, and I'm heartbroken not to be able here to be here to take your questions and to see you and to hear your opinions and your comments. But please, please feel free to reach out to me. Feel free to email me. Feel free to give me any comments, any um questions, any points for deeper understanding, for thought, etc. I'll welcome them, and I look forward to reading and to getting into touch with you. So please do so. Again, I thank you for listening to me, and I thank you for your time.
A round of applause for her, please. She is with us in spirit, not in person. Those are the advantages of using technology. I like one thing that she has done. She's shared her email address with us, arifa.gardi@vets.ac.za. If you're not sure exactly how you missed some letter there, just consult me or talk to me, and then I can give it to you. This is not going to stop us from engaging with this study, because in our midst, we've got the professors here, we've got the doctors here, we've got other colleagues from schools that have experienced some of the things that she was alluding to. But just perhaps to give you a ground, because I know some of us are not able to listen attentively to a voice. They want to pin the voice to a gesture, or a perception, or a face, or something like that. So what I'm just going to do, I'm going to give you the abstract of the paper quickly, and so that you can then give us your questions. We'll document your questions and we'll send them to her, and you as well can send those questions personally to her. In the paper that Dr. Arifa has just presented, she explored the mathematical identities of 2 higher performing grade 10 learners in the context of ability grouping in South Africa. And both learners were taught by the same mathematics teacher, but they were placed in different mathematics classrooms. One designated as a high performing class, the A class, and the other one a mixed ability performing class. She compared their mathematics teachers' practices across these 2 classrooms and examined how teachers' practices relate to each learner's mathematical identity. And the findings highlight how ability groupings practices contributed to inequalities, as these learners were offered different opportunities to construct mathematical identities and learn mathematics. Although both learners expressed the enjoyment of mathematics and took extra initiative in their learning, their experiences in their mathematics classrooms and the mathematical identities that they constructed differed. The learner in the high-performing mathematics classroom experienced greater pressure to perform well and had more negative experiences of learning mathematics than the learner in the mixed ability classroom. This study also shows how ability grouping reinforces the stratification of learners, intersecting with race, with gender, and class status to inform learners' mathematical identities and learning experiences in equitable ways. And in conclusion, she warned us that the ability grouping should be avoided in our classrooms, because it discourages a learner who is trying and wanting and loving the subject and wanting to do like others. So as a teacher, make sure that you don't do ability grouping, even when you are doing your collaborative activity groupings. She also said that we need to emphasize effort over ability, because if you come with that belief that all learners can do mathematics. I'm a mother of 5, and 2 of my 5 said to me, "Mama, it's not everything that is about mathematics." And I felt pain coming straight to me, but then I challenged myself, because I had said to myself, not a single one of mine is going to miss this opportunity of getting A's and B's in mathematics and reach to the avenues that they want to do that. So I challenge myself from a grade 2. I have been a grade 2 teacher. I've been a grade whatever, and I moved with them, and no one of them get less than a B in the final metric outcome. But it is in a belief that all learners can do mathematics. All learners should be given an opportunity to learn mathematics and be challenged. That was one of the things that she told us. She also warned us to avoid making comments in class that compare groups of learners. Make sure, even if you are angry or what, don't compare the groups of learners in your classroom. And she also said the reduction of comparisons can help all learners to feel valuable and capable. They can all try and do mathematics. And she lastly said, let us reduce the hierarchies that are created based on mathematics, on classroom placements. And with that short summary, I'm now going to give time to people who want to engage with this study and for them to ask questions that I will record and send them straight to Arifa, or engage some of the professors in this auditorium to try and assist with clarity where members are not clear. Over to you. I will see by way of hand for those people who want to engage with Arifa in absentia, represented by me. Yes, I've got one question. Do we have a roaming mic? Do we have a roaming mic, sir? There's nothing with me here. Yes. Go ahead, sir.
Situation, or how do we, oh, thank you. I'm not gonna start from scratch. I've been like, no, I think we got the crux of the question. Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Do we have people who want to respond to this? And it's very familiar or often in our schools. We've got a group of mathematics learners in the commercial class doing accounting. We've got those that do it with math. And he is correct. Most of the time, those that do maths and physical science, they do this, they perform quite better, even though Arifa has just warned us now not to compare learners, but I'm putting up a fact of some of the experiences that my colleague here is raising. Do you want to respond, sir? Or are you coming with another question?
I want to add.
Okay.
Yes, this thing of dividing learners, having the high flyers, moderate, and high-risk learners. So I disagree with that, because I like when these learners are combined. Because this thing of dividing these learners, having the high-risk learners and the high flyers, they need each other to collaborate or to support each other. So it's end up like we are dividing them in our departments. And these learners, they don't have the chance to ask their peers questions. So I want to add that. Thank you so much.
Principals, how do we make sure that we run away from this comparison in terms of class placements? Because if you look at this, the gist of this study, it's actually having a finding from the fact that one high-performing learner was placed in another class and the other one was placed in the other class, taught by the same teacher, but still their performance differed. I'm saying principals, and then I'm going to go to the EDOs, unfortunately. But we've got people from the Department of Education. They can perhaps assist. Any answers? Oh, yes, there's a hand. Sorry, there's a hand, the other side, roaming mic. Oh, guys.
Good morning, colleagues. I want to share the sentiments, or should I say, I understand from where...
Sorry, I can't see you. Oh, okay. Right, go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah, from where the presenter is speaking from. We shouldn't have to put it or make the kids understand or believe that they can't do mathematics. We all can do mathematics. It's just that some of us or some of the kids, if you teach him once, him or her once, they get to understand. So we have to know that they do not catch within the pace. So the pace in which they understand. Some of them, you have to teach them 10 times, or you have to consolidate, repeat it 10 times. Some of them 5 times, some of them once. So we have to make the kids understand that everybody has got the ability to do mathematics. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I really agree with you. However, our feeder schools are not the same, even from one small vicinity. Not that I'm saying that in one feeder school there are teachers that are underperforming, no. It happens sometimes by bad luck or something, that a teacher leaves school and is transferred to the next school, and the learners for something like 3 months or more are left without a teacher, okay? High-performing learners, but then life must go on. At the end of the year, they proceed to the next grade. So say they were doing grade 7, they will go to the next grade and they cannot be underprivileged because of the fact that the teacher left or something happened to their teacher or something like that. Then definitely in terms of time and the coverage of the content that should have been, it's not going to be there. Yes, Prof, please.
I don't know if you forgot about me.
Sorry.
Can I continue?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay,
sir. I'm
thank
sorry.
you.
I'm
Thank
sorry
you,
I didn't
Prof.
see you.
I personally think ability grouping is another form of discrimination. We subject these learners to a harsh discrimination, in a sense that we even label them high risk. How do we arrive at that point to say someone is high risk? Yet, we expect such people to make it in life. That is why, if you check, most of the high risk, low gifted, and whatsoever, there are disciplinary issues there. There are challenges of discipline because most of them, they are despondent. Most of them have given up because they see themselves the way they are labeled or according to the group. If they are high risk, indeed, even in terms of behavior, they will be high risk. They will be ill disciplined. They will not come to school because they are high risk. They are living to the standard of that label. So this thing of ability grouping, it should, in a way, according to the study, come to an end. It's subjecting those learners to harsh reality. It's a discriminatory way of treating those learners. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your input. Prof, I'll give it to you now.
Thank you. I'm just thinking aloud, and I'm trying to provoke all of us, especially at the top level. Each year, we give awards to high performers. And I'm thinking, why don't we now stop and give awards to the others who are improving? Isn't it that when I move from 0 to 1 or from 1 to 2, I have improved? So rather than we give awards to the totals, why don't we change the game and give awards to the improved learners each year? The same should apply to our matriculate, the grade 12s. Rather than each year we go and clap hands for the same group of students who are said to be performing very well. So why don't we change it from the top and give awards to improving students or improving schools? Because even schools can be rated as the last performers or in terms of percentage, but they shall have improved. So I'm thinking aloud and challenging, and I'm also saying to Arifa, what is your take on, because we are in a way throughout the system indirectly encouraging the high performers at the expense of those we label in codes. So that's my way of looking at the whole issue now. So I guess we will have so many students performing very well, knowing that they will get awards for having improved. Thank you.
Prof. Thank you, Prof. We are getting somewhere now because I think we are getting into solutions. We are in the system, all of us. There's Dr. at the front there.
Thank you very much, Prof. In as far as grouping is concerned, like Sandile mentioned earlier on, you find that there is accounting group and who's doing pure mathematics. Some are doing accounting with mathematical literacy. And there's this maths and science group, which we belonged to back then. But what I've observed in other schools is that they've changed the way of grouping. There's no commerce and science, but instead there's com science in one group. They're doing maths and science and accounting as well. And when I asked about this, they said it's even giving the learners more chances of choosing their careers instead of being fine-tuned to engineering or whatever. So I think maybe that could be one of the solutions, not having accounting only and physical science only, com science. And when they are there in one group, they will be helping each other as working collaboratively. So I think it will avoid that problem which we are encountering of having whatever. I thank you. I'm tired.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you, Doc. And perhaps as South Africa, as a country, I know that at one stage we just had one mathematics. We now have mathematics and mathematics literacy. We now have technical mathematics. Perhaps we are going into engineering mathematics. We will be going to commercial mathematics. We will be going to agricultural calculations. These are all forms of mathematics that are relevant to each student's career interest. Because for me, perhaps there will be no need for me to do calculus, and yet I want to go and do agricultural calculations and all that. What I'm trying to say is, perhaps in the future, say 10 years from now, we might realize that our curriculum for matric maths is too congested with many other concepts that have got nothing to do with some of the learners in particular streams. I've made an example. We are going forward as a country. We have now incorporated technical maths, which deals exactly with technical issues that concern mathematics, and some of the concepts that have got nothing to do with that are not in that curriculum. Perhaps instead of looking at the ability of how I sing when I'm a sport person, it's going to come into meaning. You will measure me accordingly where I really belong and where I'm actually interested. Do we have any other solutions or questions with regard to this study? We've got one. Yes, ma'am.
Am I on? Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Prof, there, I just want to concur with the gentleman who was sitting here when he says, when we group learners, we are discriminating them. It is true. And I also concur with what Professor is saying in her presentation. So I'm saying that because really it shows that if we are grouping them, we are discouraging others who are not performing at high levels. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about is that I understand we are all here as foundation phase teachers, intermediate teachers, high school teachers, senior teachers, and I also met the TVET lectures yesterday. But I'm afraid because we don't talk about foundation, I don't know, isn't maths supposed to be starting at early childhood development? I'm just asking because they are not here. I don't know if they are represented here, but I believe if we start there, the foundation, at the foundation, the grade R is not the foundation, I believe. Early childhood development. Maybe if we can start there, then we can win this big elephant. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Just to let you know, they are here. They were actually even represented in plenary by Sister Maluleke. She was a foundation phase teacher. She was presenting on issues and equipping our teachers on examples and activities that they can do in their classrooms in order to equip our learners going forward. Perhaps this thing, we miss it in the baton, because the foundation phase learners give it to the intermediate, it goes to the senior, it goes to the FET, it goes to university. I'm saying that road, it depends from where. If you are lucky like me, you might have come to no foundation, but when you got into FET, you got this strong teacher who was collecting all that foundation, intermediate, and everything that you never had. And for the first time when you're doing grade 11, you then get to interact with math. You then get to believe. Perhaps that is what this study is challenging us as teachers, that we need to believe that all learners in front of us can do mathematics. So it then comes back to you, because now you need to maintain inclusivity in your own classroom. You've already seen that learner A and learner B, but Arifa, in defining social identity in mathematics, She says it refers to how learners see themselves and are seen by others in relation to mathematics, shaped by their experiences, interactions, and social context of learning. Many a times in our classrooms as we teach, we're asking questions. And on this particular day, the learner at the back or the learner who has never said anything to anybody decides to put up his or her hand. And as he's putting up his hand, then there's howling in the class. You know, so you need to come against that immediately, because if that is what is exactly happening in your class and you allow that, they are belittling that learner. They are actually saying, what is it that can come from you, you know? So you need to create a culture of inclusivity, of making sure that learners are able to learn from each other. It goes beyond the classroom, where they say this identity is not fixed, but rather a dynamic construct that evolves through engagement with mathematics and interactions with teachers, with peers, with family. Because you are having in front of you a learner who has been told by a business parent, right? That, hey, Mfanwam, I wish you luck. If you think you're gonna do maths, hey, I tried my best and I couldn't, you know. So the learner is coming to your classroom already with some negativity in terms of attitude and in terms of ability. So is now left with a challenge of proving for the home or for the father that, you know what, Dada, I can do it. So as teachers, that is where we need to stand. Yes, they couldn't do it in the previous class, but with me, they are going to do it. More questions, more inputs in this subject? We still have a few minutes.
Thank you, ma'am. Hello, ma'am, do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes. You know what, ma'am? I just want to make an example. For those papas and mamas who have kids of 5 years, they must go and make a demonstration with those kids of 5 years. Give them 9 marbles and say they must divide according to them and their mamas or their father as well. What the learner will do, and then they will come up with the answer. But let me give the answer, because I can see we don't have those small children today. The learner will start divide, will start to give the mama 1 marbles and so on, until he left with 1. And then the learner will pick up the whole marbles of the 8 marbles together with that 1 again. Start afresh, giving himself first or herself first, and then sew it again. 1 is left. It's going to give to her mama to say, take this 1. Now, I'm saying this because every learner have a light of numbers in his brain. The challenge that we are facing is on us as mathematics teachers. When a learner comes to a school, depend on the teacher to make sure that light that the learner has goes down or bright more, depend on us. Let me cite an example. If my class of mathematics is there at that corner, and my second class is there at that other corner, the first class, if the period is 60 minutes, the first class will receive 60 minutes as it is. But the second class will receive 45 minutes. Because we are not conscious to time as the leaders of mathematics. When I move from the first class to the second class, I must via a certain somewhere to pass there first before I can get to the next class. At the end, we label learners differently because of our way of doing things. So now, we need to do this. The policymakers, the publishers, the doctors, the professors, and all those, before they do anything to change whatever in mathematics, they must come together with us. We come together in one, or can take a year. I'll make an example again. I'm speaking under correction of this one because Cuba also had the same problem in all the schools that they have. They copy all the other syllabus from other countries. There was a 1 year when they say we stop everything, we start our own thing. Look at Cuba, how is it today? So we need to change the attitude that we have towards our subject as maths teachers. And this is the right platform whereby we can now capacitate each other to say now this is the problem that we are facing with mathematics, starting with ourselves. 2, look at how the school is organized. When I compare school with the SAP people, in the SAP, if there is a captain, if I'm a sergeant and there's a captain, if the captain can say, the constable, leave that job that you are doing, he's going to leave that job. But with us, if the DH is saying, no, you are not doing it right, you say, who is this person telling me that? We don't follow what we're supposed to follow in terms of being disciplined as teachers. If we are disciplined and understand what do you do, all learners, all the people have maths. Maths is for all, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to close. I know that these are burning issues. He's touching on something else now, the discipline. And the discipline should start with you as a teacher. You are unable to discipline any other person, even at your home, if you are not disciplined yourself. However, I am going to close this session. I'm actually left with 1 minute just to wind up. And to show you that I'm closing, I start by closing my laptop. And thank you very much for engaging with me. And Arifa was supposed to be online, but she cannot. The situation that she's dealing with is very sad. She has lost one of her own. So she's dealing with that right now. But I know that through the link, she will get your questions directly. And some of those that you cannot send, you can send them to her by email. On another note, we've got classes that were picked up in one of the venues. If they are your classes, I'm going to move from here and I'll sit here in front. You can come and collect them. Thank you very much. A round of applause for Arifa. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. I've just been listening to contributions as made by colleagues from different levels. I am speaking from the background of the colleges because I started at high school, at secondary, and then moved to colleges. But what I've realized is this thing, as one of the colleagues said, that we are supposed to be disciplined. I want to emphasize on the fact, as mentioned by one of our colleagues, that he was comparing the commerce class and the science class and found that the commerce is doing better. I just want to make mention of this very important point as far as our preparations are concerned, because one colleague mentioned that. I've realized that I'm personally now teaching the commercial, like the transport and logistic group, and the other one is the safety group, those ones that wants to be police and all that. So just to share, in my preparation, I then I'm going to use the approach of saying, okay, for the safety, which has to do with the traffic corps and the police, I use, in my mathematics teaching, I use examples from their background. You understand?
Yes, we do understand. Unfortunately, I had already closed, and I am going to personally interact with you so that I can take down your contributions and relay them to Arifa. Thank you.
Personally.
Good morning, colleagues. My name is Pesilia Mokhomutsi. We are starting with the closing ceremony of the 30th National Congress of AMESA. Let's please settle down. Can we reflect the program on the wall? All right, I'm going to request Joseph Khaye to come on stage. I don't see Joseph coming up. Unfortunately, I'm not familiar with his face. Can I request a pastor to come and open the session with prayer? Oh, that's Joseph. Thank you, sir. Oh, impressive. Comrades Marathon.
Halala, AMESA, halala. Allow me to open in prayer, but before I pray, according to Ephesians chapter 5:18, I'll summarize it. Since you were once in darkness, now we have prospered. Now you are the people of light. We started, now we are ending in a better note. We have the light. We now know why we were here, but we are coming up stronger in better light. On that note, you are blessed. On that score, you can see there are better things coming. May I pray as you see better things coming. May I pray for you now that you are thinking of home where there is more light. You are thinking of home where God will be protecting you more and more. You were once there, now you are coming up with a better understanding. Somebody can close their eyes as I pray. Seated as you are. Heavenly Father, I pray, as your servant, there was a time when Moses was tired. But when the hands came down, the Israelites were slaughtered. But when the hands of Moses was up, victory was on their side. Lord, we want to thank you and to say, victory is on AMESA's side. May your grace be upon their life from now and forevermore. Thank you. Program director, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Colleagues, let's sit down. Let's settle down. Before we commence with the rest of the program, let us mention that yesterday we received the news that the former Deputy President of the country, Mr. Didi Mabuza, has passed on. And indeed, we are very sad. Can we observe a moment of silence for just a minute? Moment of silence. Thank you. May his soul rest in peace. Colleagues, welcome to the closing ceremony. Like I said, my name is Percy. I hope that we have learned, we have collaborated, we have made friends, but we have taken something out of this Congress to take it back home. There are a lot of things that happened here during this week. And for me, one of the fascinating things that I saw at this Congress was that we are normally late for sessions. Most of the sessions started late because we are late. And on Thursday, I was facilitating a foundation phase committee meeting with the foundation phase teachers. And one of the things that they mentioned was that they are struggling with teaching the concept of time. And then I said, that's why we are struggling with time. So I hope colleagues will stress this concept of time when they get back to their institutions. Yeah, I really hope so. And one of the things that I took away from this Congress this week came from a gentleman, and he said, the art of asking the right questions is more superior than answering those questions. And I found it exciting, and I reflected, and I know that I have gained a lot. But also, one of the things that I noticed was that during the gala dinner yesterday, I know that some of you were not at the gala. We had a lot of fun. Yes, we had a lot of fun. And I know that maybe the reason why some of us did not have fun yesterday was because we don't know the meaning of some of the terms. You know, there is this word called starter. When we eat, there is this word called starter. And the meaning of starter, colleagues, is a small meal that is served before the main course of a meal. That is a starter. And the purpose of a starter is to stimulate appetite and prepare your palate for the different flavors to come during the main course. Now, because we are struggling with the interpretation of this word, or maybe some of us are not well conversant with the word, some of our colleagues were not able to get the starter because our plates were full with the starter. When we were just supposed to get maybe 3 pieces of food. And this is why you are saying the gala dinner was not as enjoyable as we saw it. So I like gatherings like this because we are here to learn about math teaching, and everything mathematics. But there are these little things that we have also learned. And I'm confident that when you go home today, you are going to implement the concept of starter in the correct way. So, those are some of the exciting things, but I've been requesting the media people to reflect the program here, because we all do not have the program except myself, because I'm cool like that. And let me mention that with the concept of time, I'm very strict. There are minutes that are allocated to all the people who will be standing here. So when I stand next to you, know that your time is up. Now, without wasting time, I'm going to call the Congress Director of the 30th National AMESA Congress to give us reflections on the Congress. I don't want to say a lot because he talks a lot. But before he comes here, I'm going to give only 3 minutes to Cambridge University Press to announce their winners for the whole week. You've been going through to their table and you have won something. They want to give you that thing before they go.
Thank you, Percy. Colleagues, I'm not going to waste time. I'm going to announce our winners. I'm going to call the 5 winners, and as they come to the 4th, then we'll be giving back to Auspesi. I'm just going to call them like from the 1st to the 5th. I'm starting now. The first one from Northwest Province, Itumeleng Makhale of Holy Family Primary. The second one will be Defnisi Tole of Kulube Primary. The third one is from Mpumalanga, Sandile Sizwe Msweli, Mtaiza Primary. The fourth one from GP Gauteng Province, that's Winnie Mashaba from Moifontein. The fifth one from KZN, Noma Kwezi Jordan, Curriculum Advisor, Ugu District. Thank you. Thank you, Sis Percy.
Colleagues, if the name of the person mentioned here works at your institution, please come and collect their gift because they might have left. Dr. Sello. One, two, three. Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just have a small announcement here. Yesterday, I believe majority of you signed the registers from the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture in Limpopo because they are part of our sponsors. So they gave us this register so that everyone who was attending the Congress should append their signatures. So I wanted to check if you did not perhaps sign this register, can you just raise your hand? I'll bring it to you, you sign, and then we'll be able to submit to the department. If you didn't sign the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture register, raise up your hand, I'll come to you, you sign so that we can submit. Thank you.
On the same breath, colleagues, the Limpopo MST department sponsored some delegates. Please, if you haven't signed the register, come and see me. Thank you.
Thank you, Osmachweni Muinwe from Cambridge University Press. And now I'm going to call the Congress Director to come and give us his reflections on the hot seat he's been on since last year, and to tell us if we have made his job easy. Congress Director.
Oh. I'm relieved. I'll just say all protocols observed. because of time. Number one, maybe the reflection won't be that long because I'm still going to write a report to council to advise them on what to do next based on our experiences. But I want to start here so that maybe I'll show colleagues to say, if we are given a test, I was talking to other colleagues to say, if you are given a test out of 10 and you lose 1 or 2, that should be 80%. Am I right? We lost one of the key pillars of what we're doing, but we are going to explain that and advise also, because the reflection is supposed to be advising the next host that is about to take over, which is Mpumalanga. First of all, I'll start with advising them to say there is a document, an action log, that they should follow going forward. If you follow that action log and ensure that you stick to the dates that are there, and every item, because this is what we did. There was, we ended up putting red, blue, and amber in those items to say, for an example, if I must have the first announcement in October, I start preparing in such a way that by the time I reach October, I know if it's still amber, which means I must take care of the issues that are there. The same with the appointment of plenary speakers. Have that action log, use it. It becomes the Bible of the Congress Director. So that by the time people start shouting and say, where is the final announcement? You might find that you are delayed by maybe, say, a week or so, not more than that. That is how we delivered the first announcement on time, vis-a-vis what happened last year, and the final announcement on time. And also, when it comes to plenary speakers, always have plan A and plan B, because there is no program without the plenary speakers. Pete will tell you when I approached him, because of the circumstances that were taking place. And maybe he was worried to say, why Zweli is approaching me now? And I'm very excited because I asked him to join us. I think that was that was in February or March, because of some hiccups along the way. But it took him a week to decide to come to South Africa. And Pete, thank you for making us shine as an association and blessing us, because without the international flavor, there is no Congress of this magnitude. Can we give him a round of applause? And then going to the other plenary speakers again, we were lucky because we had our Dean, who is a lifetime member of AMESA. And when I didn't even call her, I sent an email. Within an hour, she said, I'm in. And we were very, very, very excited that she would unpack the theme for us and give you the Limpopo flavor of the Congress. Prof. Mauto, thank you for being there for us. And you are still there now for us. We appreciate the support and the guidance. And I would like to quote something. I am a perfectionist. Dlamini. Unquote. That's why we survived, because of the pressure that we got from you. And thank you. I think if there is an opportunity to thank you, I don't know in the program, but I didn't see that. But I said I must do it now. Thank you, Prof, for the leadership and everything. And also invoking the other subordinates of yours to say, come on board, assist Wotlamini there and there. Thank you, thank you. Can we give a round of applause? And also on the academic part, because I'm starting with the academic part, because there is no Congress without the academic. The rest will follow. And I will talk to it. There are just 3 issues that are key, and then I'll try and be fast. Because at some stage when we were not living up to expectation, Ray would always say, my brother, when he wakes up 4:30 a.m., he will say, my brother, the big 3. And the big 3, he said, is accommodation, catering, and academic program. Where are the plenary speakers? And I said, Mara Ray, why is he like this? But I understood he was on point. And Ray, for you being in the LOC and supporting the president, like she said yesterday, there is no, I don't know, I don't want to put this out of context. You became the true right hand of the president. Thank you, Ray. And your experience, previous experience as a president, a former president, it assisted us and took us to where we are. We thank you a lot for everything in terms of logistics. Can we give him a round of applause also? And again, still on the academic program, we struggled at the beginning. We struggled because maybe people in the academic desk, they took the work initially as if they can do it overnight. It's a very serious task. If you use the action log, the dates when you should start accepting papers, and as soon as you get them, you release them. You don't keep them until the last week and you say, now I've received all, it's closed, then I can release. It is going to be overwhelming and it might end up not getting to the standards that you want. Because without the proceedings, colleagues, we don't have AMESA anymore, because the universities are spending a lot of money assisting the lecturers in order to come here and present and leave everything. So we took that as our first preference. And to the team led by Prof. Mtoti, and also the guidance, because the academic program also lies on the desk of the Vice President. They delivered proceedings that I can assure you we followed the policy, because whenever they came to me when they were shouting at each other, there's only one word that I say to them: follow the policy, not what you think, so that the proceedings can be accredited. So you can think and think likewise, but if you are not following the policy, they are not going to be accredited. So that was my advice every day to the academic desk, but they delivered. Unlike in the previous Congress, where we left without proceedings. So what we promised when we took over from Kimberley, we said proceedings will be there before the Congress. We delivered on that. We had a Congress. And thank you to Prof. Mtoti and team. Then we went into the other issues, because once you have the academic program, AMESA had in its logistics, accommodation and catering, which were the big 3. Let me start with catering. I'll get to accommodation. Because as much as there is accommodation, but you can't sleep without eating. We spent robust debates, very robust debates in terms of catering, because there was a mismatch in terms of understanding from the side of the region and the side of us, the AMESA members on campus. But I will advise that also you talk closely with the university so that you understand why they are saying you must choose a university caterer. There's issues of food poisoning, colleagues. The university, if there is food that comes from outside, the image of the university will be at stake. And we have seen that there was no issue of food poisoning in this conference, which means the food was taken care in terms of standards. That is very key in your preparation. But lastly, I want, give me just 2 minutes. I'm wrapping up. The other logistics, we involved the premier in our preparations, which cascaded us to education. And the AMESA's office was the one coordinating the other government departments. Hence, you would see tourism among our midst. Hence, you would see arts and culture among our midst. But the advice is, as you approach education, seek a letter of endorsement, Mpumalanga, that they endorse your Congress, 31st Congress. So once education endorses, then you'll see the department assisting you. But believe in me, when it comes to budgets, Treasury is strict. Don't budget according to what is promised. Because along the line, they will say, no, at a critical stage, do everything with what you have. This is what happened. That is why we found ourselves struggling with the other big three, which is accommodation. I think I've explained it, and I don't want to explain it anymore, but I'm happy that colleagues, some of them, I saw them going into the shops, buying their own linen and trying to bear with us because of the love of AMESA, to sleep in those conditions. That was the very, very, very last option. And we appreciate colleagues for being there with us and under those conditions. That shows that you love AMESA. Then the last one is registration. I would suggest that colleagues register early, because even on Monday, people were registering and they want lunch and they want everything, which it was extremely difficult. If that can be handled, and also the issue of capturing those who have registered, because the queues that were there on Monday, they were not from our side. They were from the side of the office, the AMESA office. So if council can take care of that, thank you. Thank you. I'm talking to council and he's saying, come back. But thank you, colleagues. Thank you, colleagues. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Allah. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Dlamini. The reason, colleagues, we want to stick to time is because we are from 9 provinces in the country. Some of our colleagues are going to drive as far as Northern Cape. So they still have a long way to go. So we want to keep on to time. We are not being rude. I know that this is an African. Yeah, in Africa, you can do whatever for as long as you want. Now, I'm going to now call the lady of AMESA, the first citizen of AMESA, Ms. Kansani Duba, and she's going to give us the way forward. Where do we go from here?
Thank you so much, Program Director. Colleagues, good day. I know the Program Director will chase me very soon, but allow me to take this opportunity and greet and also thank the VC of this university, Prof. Mukhalong, for hosting us in his institution. I really want to appreciate the university staff. In this Congress, they were led by Prof. Mautu, because she was always with us. But yesterday, I heard her talking very well about Dimste, where our Congress Director is coming from. She praised them and said they are the most quality in department in this university. And she was also working there before she moved to the other department. Prof, please take this to the VC. We really appreciate the university. Thank you so much for making our stay a better place. We appreciate. Can we give them a round of applause, colleagues? We were hosted in this university without paying anything. We did not pay a cent. They provided us with cleaners. I'm sure you saw we never had running stomachs because the bathrooms were clean, because they deployed their cleaners to come and work even during weekend. And that needs to be appreciated. We had security personnel moving around the university. We were safe. And some of them are not working during weekends. They were working extra hours. We saw them. So it's because the university, the management of the university decided to make sure that we are safe by deploying their human resource. We really appreciate that, Prof. We saw it. Thank you so much. The marketing department, the university actually deployed everyone to come and assist us to have a great Congress. The marketing department, we were having or presenting our things live because the marketing department and their team, I don't know what they call it, they were here to work with us. They deployed them without payments. We really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I also want to thank the academic team. I nearly cried yesterday when I saw all of them running around with boxes of scripts. You are making noise. I can hear you. Kyali. I saw them running around with boxes of scripts. So it means they dedicated their time to this Congress and leave their work. Yesterday, they were only marking. I saw them marking to submit their marks. They were having those boxes in their hands of papers. So we really appreciate that they could put their own work aside. Thank you, DBE. We came knocking at your doorsteps and you opened your doors. I see we still have one official here from DBE, Ms. Kembo. I'm not sure if Mr. Mdawi is still here, but we came to you, needed you to come and help us, and you opened your doors, you opened your advices, and you even came to our Congress. We appreciate that. Thank you so much. To Limpopo Department of Education, Prof. Zweli has already said a lot. I'm not going to go there, but we appreciate all the help that you have given us, all the advices, all the leadership that you led us and support us throughout and talking to the other departments. Hence, we were having some entertainment at our functions for free because of the intervention of the Department of Education in Limpopo. We really appreciate. Thank you so much. To our sponsors, I'll single out a few that sponsored very high. I've already mentioned the University of Limpopo. They have sponsored, as I indicated. And allow me to single out Prof. Mautu. Thank you for your sponsorship. When I wanted to book you accommodation, you said, no, I'd rather give that money to AMESA. Thank you so much, Prof. You said you'll sleep at home and give us the money that we were supposed to pay for your accommodation. I did not forget. Thank you. We appreciate that. I wish other people can also do the same. As we don't have money, we are just begging. We have got CETA. They are also one of our sponsors. We have got Kagiso Trust. I'm told the CEO is here today. Sizakele, I'm not sure if she's here already. Oh, yes. Thank you so much, Kagiso. We appreciate the partnership. And please follow us to Mpumalanga. Please. We appreciate you. And we also appreciate the Department of Tourism that also sponsored, and many more other sponsorships that we received. I also want to appreciate the LOC of Limpopo for the great work that they've done under the leadership of Prof. Zweli. Well done, colleagues. I'm very proud of you. I'm going to ask Mpumalanga if I can bring you to Mpumalanga with me so that we go and assist, so that we can have an even better Congress than this one. You delivered my first Congress. Thank you so much. Prof, please take, or Dr. Maputa, take this to our caterers. We appreciate them. People were eating. I saw food left. You know, they cooked enough that everybody got food, even on Monday, where we were not sure about the numbers, but everybody was fed. Please go and thank them for me. We really appreciate. We'll write them letters, but please go and tell them we appreciate the way they've fed all of us. And their teas, everything was on point. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. She was the leader in catering. Well done, ma'am. We appreciate. Colleagues, let me quickly go to way forward. I know time is not on my side. In this Congress, all the challenges that we have experienced, we have seen them, and we have taken a resolution as national office that we are no longer going to organize accommodation for anyone. We want to concentrate on the academic program. Each and every member will organize his or her own accommodation. When the hosting province will just help us by checking places where people can be accommodated and also negotiate for lower rates, as will be many, but it will no longer be the baby of the Congress, so that we can have a proper academic program that is not interrupted. You heard the program director talking about time. We were not attending our sessions on time because of the transportation that was happening. And when we tried to talk with the bus company, they were saying, we wait at the gate, people are coming one by one. You know, it was a blaming game. When we blame the bus company, the bus driver will say it's teachers. So we don't want to go there anymore. I believe we will improve on time next year. The issue of registration, already the Congress Director has touched it, but the resolution that we have taken, colleagues, please let's go and read our final announcement, but we are going to close the registration 3 weeks before the Congress starts. And we are sorry, we will not allow you to register on site. It will be sad, but we will turn you back. So please, let's read our final announcement. Let's check the dates and register on time. The lines that Prof is talking about, it's because a person will go to the Google form, register for registration, maybe for accommodation, you tick all you choose an excursion, you also tick for the dinners that we're having, our special functions, and you only pay for registration. When you come here, you were supposed to go online, and colleagues who were making noise because the lists that were printed they were only printing a list of a person who has paid everything that you chose. If you chose certain things but you did not pay them, you wouldn't find yourself on the list. And we were making noise to say, I registered in April, but I'm not in the list. It's because the system was telling us that you owe us. So you have to stand on a queue to go and correct your baggage that you were having. So it will help us, colleagues, if we can do things right. If you only want to pay registration, only tick registration and pay. Then you won't have problems. But the minute you take other things and not pay, that is a problem. Some people, when we say early registration, you just register and come and pay at the Congress and still expect to pay the early registration fee. Colleagues, it is not fair. We are making early registration fee to try and register everybody so that we can prepare for you on time. But if you choose to pay late, to do late registration, be prepared to pay for late registration. So please, let's go and start saving small, so that when the final announcement is out, I promise you, I was talking to Mpumalanga, we will release the first announcement very soon, so that you start planning and pay on time and be ready to attend the Congress without hiccups. It is disturbing to come here and stand online as if we didn't know that you are coming. But it's because of those things. So please, colleagues, help us to prepare for you. And we are requesting all our precious researchers and presenters to start preparing their papers. Very soon, you'll see the topic today. So please start now to prepare, so that the minute we say you start submitting your papers, you submit. That will help us to have a proper program. Even if we change it, it will be just here and there, sometimes if maybe a presenter is no longer coming. But it is money to print a program again. It is time for people to sit down and redo the program again. So please, let's try and submit our papers on time, so that we can also have time to check the program as to whether all papers are there, all is well. If your paper is not there, we'll also check as to why is this paper not there. So please, let's work together so that we can have a beautiful conference that we are looking forward to. We can't wait to go back to Mpumalanga. Lastly, I would like to say thank you to all of you who attended this Congress. You are appreciated. I believe you have learned. You have interacted with your peers. You have learned from each other, and we are still going to learn. This was, we were connecting you. I believe you have exchanged numbers. You will still be helping each other in your different congresses. Different provinces as you go back. I also declare traveling mercies on yourselves. May God Almighty protect you as you go back home. Thank you so much. Thank you for that.
Well said. I guess you were expecting me to stand next to her because of time. But you see, I'm a teacher. I'm not a security guard. Ne? Security guard, when you tell them that everyone who enters this gate must give you a card. Even when Mr. Ramaphosa comes, they say, Baba, give us the card. Now, you know, as a teacher, I was taught about animal farm. Some animals are more equal than others. You know, so I still remember that. But thank you, President, and colleagues. I think you have heard what she said. And you have seen her during the week. What she says goes. When she says 3 weeks before, she means 3 weeks. We are all going to run and make sure that it is 3 weeks before the start of Congress. And when she says no accommodation, it's done. No accommodation, no correspondence entered into it. So we are very happy. And some of us colleagues here are still having those little phones, Spetamabag. That thing does not work. Even your learners are refusing to use those things at home. Because the reason why we did not register online is because your phone is failing you. Now you cannot be failed by something that you bought. You are in control, you are the leader of that thing, but it is controlling you, it is making you to fail. So let us make sure that you buy the right phone and the right laptop. That is the starting point. This is what we are saying as AMESA. We are way more advanced technologically. To see you using that phone, you know, you saw it, and we told you when we saw it. I thank you very much. Now I'm going to request the youngest member of council to come here and hand over the baton to Mpumalanga, the place of the rising sun. Bila fight. Bila.
Thank you, Program Director. Mine is not a lot. It's to hand over to Mpumalanga. Mr. Mabena and Mr. Diapo, you can come closer. I don't have a lot of words for you. It is with great pleasure that we hand over the AMESA Congress to Mpumalanga. We trust that you will build the momentum and success of the event. We wish you all the best in hosting a successful Congress in the year 2026. And we look forward to the 2026 AMESA Congress. From Limpopo, we hand over to you. We know you are going to represent us very well. Thank you very much.
Now, colleagues, this is a very exciting moment. We want to see, now that they have the hosting rights for the 31st National AMESA Congress, what are they promising us? The last time we were there, in 2015, is it 2015, 2016? Yes, it was 2016. Eh? During that year, in the gala dinner, I became part of the LOC because now they are saying they are on point, they are ready. Over to them, let us see what they are promising us.
Thank you very much, President of AMESA. And obviously, I would like to thank to all right, yeah. I only wanted to thank the chairperson of Limpopo for handing over the baton to me. I don't want to promise so much, but what I wanted to say to you, delegates, please come to Mpumalanga. You will see what is going to happen there. I know that the program director has already mentioned something, which means he's putting some challenge over to ourselves. But I want to promise you, we're not going to talk too much. What we need you to know, please come to Mpumalanga and witness the rising sun on the other side. I officially accept the challenge. And with the team that I'm working with, I want to accept the challenge on behalf of the chairperson of the region, Mr. Nkosinathi Nkambule. You know, the hard work started immediately when we left the Kimberley National Conference. We started everything. And I promise you, the show goes on. From today onwards, we will deliver Congress 2026. Whether rain or what, the Congress will be delivered. Thank you very much. I will hand over to Mr. Pura to give us the presentation that we have prepared as Mpumalanga province. Thank you very much. Mr. Pura, the stage is yours.
Halala Mpumalanga, halala. Halala Mpumalanga, halala. Colleagues, we are presenting what we are intending to give you as Mpumalanga. And this is our Congress logo. As you can see, the 3 roundabouts and also the rising sun there. And we are well known as the place of the rising sun. And our Congress theme there, it's breaking barriers through innovation towards Vision 2030 and beyond. And we have sub-themes below there. Dispel the myth that mathematics is a dry subject for a selected few through innovative ways for teaching and learning. Use ICT and all available technology to make mathematics interesting for a meaningful learning. Collaboration and innovation, a must for a mass participation and success to achieve the NDP goals there, of which that was mentioned during the opening ceremony by Dr. Similani as a preamble on the opening there. And the other one is employ transformative and creative ways to break barriers, and breaking barriers, thus building a future. Those are our sub-themes there. Now, the location of our province there, Mpumalanga is located in the northeast region of South Africa, and we are sharing boundaries with these 2 countries. On the eastern border, we have Mozambique, and on the southeastern border, we are having the Kingdom of Eswatini. And inside the Republic, we are sharing the borders with the following provinces, that is Gauteng, Free State, KwaZulu-Natal, and Limpopo there. And the capital city of our province is Mbombela, and we also have our renowned coal-producing Emalahleni, which is also a city in our province there. Our host for Congress 2026 is the University of Mpumalanga, which is located in Mbombela, and the slogan for the university is creating opportunities there. This university was established in 2013, And in February 2014, it introduced only the 3 programs that we have there. That is the Bachelor of Education, the foundation phase, and Bachelor of Agriculture, and the Diploma in ICT. So fast forward to 2025, the UPM is offering 85 accredited academic programs, and students that have enrolled there from 169 in 2014, we are currently having 11,829 students in the university. Now, our first Vice Chancellor, there was Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa, then he was followed by Chief Justice Mandisa Maya, and our current Vice Chancellor is Professor Toko Maekiso, and the UPM incorporates the infrastructure of the 3 existing institutions, that is the Lawfeld College of Agriculture, the Hospitality School that is in Kwanyamazani, and the Siabuswa Education Campus there. And it is worth mentioning that this university is still under construction there. And these are some of the pictures of the university. Right, in terms of our LOC, we have a vast variety of members that are in the LOC. The academics from the university, we have subject advisors, we have teachers, and also the colleagues from the MST Academy in the province there. We're just giving you an aerial view of the capital of Mpumalanga, that is the Mbombela. We're having the Mbombela and the government complex. This is our government complex there. This is the iconic Mbombela Stadium. Now, in Mpumalanga, we have 4 districts, and that is Buhlabela, Ehlanzeni, Gertsibande, and Kangala. And in terms of the climate during that period there, we are saying it can be hot to very hot in summer, especially in the low-felt regions. The low-felt regions, we are referring to Buhlabela and Ehlanzeni there. And mild in winter, but it can become very cold in the high-felt, which is Gertsibande and Nkangala. And the province there is a summer rainfall area. So what we are conscientizing colleagues who are coming to the Congress next year is that you should bring warm clothing to the Congress there. And the mode of transport there, in terms of the air transport there, we're having Kruger Mpumalanga International Airport, and this airport provides scheduled flights to and fro from Johannesburg, Cape Town, and Durban there. And the road transport there, in terms of these national roads, we're having N4 and N12 that connects Mpumalanga to Gauteng and Mozambique. We're having the N2 that connects Mpumalanga and KZN, and N17 connects the Mpumalanga, Gauteng, and Eswatini. And we do have those regional roads that you can use also to connect to Mpumalanga. Now, the accommodation is as amended by the way forward that the president has indicated there. So of which what we'll do is that we'll engage various B&Bs, lodges, hotels, so as we negotiate for you reasonable prices in front there. In terms of tourism, the beauty that Mpumalanga is blessed with is those 4 features that every South African tourist will like to see: the scenic beauty, the climate, the cultural attraction, and the wildlife there. And it's worth mentioning to say we are the only province that has got a window, and we'll be welcoming you to the God's window. So these are some of interesting places that will take you through the Sudwala Caves. And we're having the Sudwala Caves Dinosaur Park. We're having Lawfeld National Botanical Garden. We have the Pinnacle Rock, the Blade River Canyon, Suspension Bridge in Graskop, the 3 roundabouts, which is part of our logo that we have there. They still play the River Canon, and we have the pure lack potholes. And the Sabi Falls there. And this is the overview of the Kruger National Park. And if we are fortunate, these are the the animals that you might see when we take you through to the Kruger National Park there. And coming to languages that are spoken in the province we are having is Swati, is Zulu, is Ndebele, English, Sitsonga, Sipulana, Sepedi, Setswana, Afrikaans, and the sign language. Those are languages that are mainly spoken in Mpumalanga. And cultural attraction, we have this, our renowned paintist, that is Dr. Esther Mahlangu. And some of the paintings that were used in Africa Meets Africa, those were taken from Dr. Mahlangu. And this is Dr. Mahlangu's museum, cultural museum. We have him Matsamu Cultural Museum, which is, village, which is in GP Street. Then this is a typical dress that we have for Ndebele tradition. And we have Isiswati attire. And we are saying the annual National Congress 2026 will be on the 28th June up to the 3rd July. Then Mpumalanga province welcomes you. Thank you, colleagues. You can do that.
Yes. Yeah, but we are finishing. We are calling our delegates to come. Yeah. You give us a few, you can call in the delegates of Mpumalanga to the stage.
Yeah,
give us a
yourself.
scene and then we go.
No.
Yeah, that's what we do. That's how we do it. All right, all right. Let me take the opportunity. I've just requested the program director to give us only 2 minutes if possible. I would like to call all the delegates of Mpumalanga to come to the stage and give us the song so that our delegates know what will they expect when they come to Mpumalanga. The stage is yours. Let's make it snappy. Let's make it snappy. We don't have time, please.
Viva Mpumalanga, viva! Amanda! Wonderful presentation, and we are looking forward to being in Mpumalanga, and I'll be dressed up for the gala dinner in Mpumalanga. You know, for this Congress, I was the ice boy, you know. So in Mpumalanga, watch the space. We are coming full force. Now, colleagues, without wasting time, I'm going to call the president to officially close this Congress. And immediately after that, we are going to call Brian from KZN to lead us in the chanting of the national anthem. I would be leading the national anthem, but the problem is that when I was in primary school and the choirs were singing, they would invite me to the choir, but when they were about to go to competitions, they would chase me away. Now I'm doubting my abilities to sing. Now Brian says inclusive classrooms have boys who can sing. So, President, and thank you for being a wonderful audience, and safe travels, colleagues.
Thank you, Program Director. Good afternoon again, colleagues. I declare this Congress officially closed. Thank you.
As Brian is ascending the stage, all our invited guests and important people are going to have their lunch in the boardroom, colleagues. Your lunch will be served at the regular lunch places. Thank you.
And we still have memorabilia. Those who want memorabilia at Dempster, we're still selling. So if you want, we'll meet there.
And colleagues, let us remain standing and sing the national anthem. We don't want people moving when we sing the national anthem. We want everyone to be standing and standing still for the national anthem.
May you all rise.
South Africa, South Africa. Mighty van onze Jemen, and hier en van ons Jemen. Ons is and united we shall stand. Let us live our freedom in South Africa, our land. Matla AMESA, matla. Viva AMESA, viva.